Now on this tape we're going to start our canopy detailing. On the last tape we fit the canopy. We had Dave Midgley mold it up. And this one we're going through our books trying to pick up some good canopy detailing ideas. And we have plenty of pictures in our library, so we should be able to do a relatively nice job, I hope. And I hope there's going to be some good information on here that'll make your model a little more sexy, attractive, whatever word you want to use, realistic. It's really all in the eye of the beholder anyway. And one of the defining features of a Spitfire canopy, and we haven't molded it before, I haven't made one before, is that the yoke, they call it a shovel handle yoke, as the machine gun firing mechanism. We're going to try to put that as part of the detailing for this model. And of course a nice dashboard full of gauges, a little simulated seat. The first part of any real cockpit detailing is get yourself a book. In this case you can see one of the things, the headrest, the shoulder straps, the radio behind the cockpit. Anyway, I want to get a little look at some of the ideas that I want to incorporate into this cockpit detailing. And a good way to do that is just to look at some of the models I've already on the last tape we actually made the plug, added the glass, and did the fitting. On this tape we're going to try to do, or at least get started with, a real nice rendition of cockpit detailing. Okay, the last time we worked on this, and keep in mind we're doing a lot of things at once in the shop here, a lot of molding projects. I'm trying to segregate them out into meaningful videos. But one of the things that was extremely important before we start the canopy mold, the detailing, see I'm thinking mold, not detailing, is I want to make sure, again, a final time, that I have the fit that I want around the radius, around the back, that it's lined up the way I want it. And once that's done, and it looks like we did accomplish that the last time we worked on this, we can put the plexiglass away. And the next step of this is going to be to try to lay out exactly where we want to make the bulkhead for the back. And we need to reference off the first thing, and what I'll do is I'll work from the back to the front. I need to reference where this bulkhead will be. And what I'll do, I'll use this piece as just to rough it out, make it a little oversized. Cut this piece, and then I'll have this little section completely enclosed. Now this will reference me for this part. Now a good way to do this is, we know the groove is parallel. We can feel it with a piece of 1/8 inch tape. And I want to add a little piece of 1/8 inch tape just for my own, like a little safety margin. So I have a little bit of material extra. So I can always cut it back. It's a lot easier to cut it back than to add material. And this will give me a little rough layout where I want this piece to end. Again, it's always easier to lay this out with tape before you actually commit to a cut. See, now with the tape on, what it allows me to do is move these lines, see if they're parallel, if they're crooked in any dimension, and I can just adjust these until I'm real happy before I make my cut. And I'll even leave a little extra material. Now, because this is already covered with fiberglass, I want to use a brand new XL blade and get one real nice cut on this. I want to leave a little bit of a rib there, a little bit of a support. Keep in mind this whole fuselage is fiberglass, so you would think we'll have some integrity there anyway. Okay, now we've got a box to work in. What I need to do now, I need to measure this dimension forward to the bulkhead and this dimension across and make up the little plate that'll be the bottom plate for this, the back radio compartment. Now, this is certainly one area where using an XL cutting pad and brand new blades will make for a lot nicer, neater operation. In essence, once this is trimmed, this is going to be the back radio compartment shelf. That's tack glued in. I can trim the edges nice. One of those great little spots, a Bud McKnight sanding stick a la nail file seems to work. And once this edge is totally blended in now, because this is an edge I'm going to see once the canopy is on here, I want to harden it up with CA once I have the shape right, and that will be a finish edge. Now, one good way to do this to avoid making a mess is just put the good old-fashioned CA on a Q-tip. It'll actually give a better tooth to the epoxy too when we epoxy the canopy on permanently. Now we have that edge finalized, I hope. Notice that word hope. Once this kicks off, you know what I want to do as I go, every step of the way, is refit the canopy. Make sure we have the fit that we want, because if we don't want to put any detailing in there. Once those edges are all sanded in, you notice that they're hardened up with the thin CA. I want to make a bulkhead, a complete bulkhead for the back of this. This is acting as a fuselage former. That shell has no formers in it, and this will really make that back end of the fuselage hopefully nice and rigid. Remember that word, hopefully. I make that piece out of 64th plywood, but I want the grain to be going side to side. So you can see one side of this is flexible. I want the strength in this dimension. So I'll lay it out with the grains going side to side. There's a relatively easy way to make a good template on this. And just trace this from the back and sand the line off when I make the cut. And that gives me the back bulkhead shape. I can just take a look and make sure I have the fit I want. Okay, I got all these surfaces sealed up with 2 coats of thin Brodax CA. Trying to get a reasonably nice finish on them. The reason being I don't want to see the wood grain in the final finish, so it's easier right now to sand this than before I put the next bulkhead in. Obviously, if that bulkhead is here, it's hard to put a finish on this. So you want to kind of always think ahead.